Beatrice Park, a graduate of the class of 1940, was an outstanding girls basketball player during an era when there were few opportunities for girls to participate in athletics. In fact, basketball was the only varsity sport offered to girls during her years at Brewer. Ms. Park was a starting forward for the Brewer varsity team her sophomore through senior years. Although she was certainly good enough to play on the varsity team her freshman year, freshmen were not allowed to play varsity, so she honed her skills on the intramural and interclass teams. Basketball for girls in the late 1930s was very different from the game played today. Since the invention of the game in the late 1800s, the belief at the time was that girls were too delicate to play full court, as exerting themselves would negatively affect their fertility. Thus, they were not allowed to cross the center line. By Ms. Park's sophomore year, the Brewer varsity girls, like all girls across the country, were playing two-court basketball with 6 players per team. The game was essentially played in 2 half-courts, with 3 guards defending 3 forwards in each half-court. No one could cross the center line, only forwards could shoot and score, and only 1 dribble per player was allowed. Being allowed to dribble opened up the possibility that someone might hog the ball, a behavior that was very unladylike. Dribbles could not go higher than the knee, as anything more would likely exhaust the girls, or so was the belief at the time. This style of play was known nationwide as 6-on-6 basketball, and due to the belief that girls were too delicate and weak to play full court, a belief that permeated the athletic culture of the time, 6-on-6 basketball remained the style of play until the early 1970s. Park and her teammates had to conquer the game ball itself, a leather ball sewn together with laces. When the laces of the basketball would hit the rim, the balls would often bounce in crazy directions, and there was no guarantee that when you dribbled the ball, that one time, that it would actually return to your hand. Despite the restrictions and confining culture surrounding girls' basketball and sports in general, Beatrice Park rose to be one of the most dominant players in Eastern Maine. Even the Bangor Daily News reported in a sports column her senior year. The basketball player who attracts the most comment, all favorable, when Brewer hoop teams play isn't Lyford, Goodwin, Cosboom, or Houston of Coach Dougherty's starting boys lineup, but a member of the girls' team, Beatrice Park. Beatrice can shoot well enough and pass well enough to make a good many of the boys' teams in this section. When one of Dougherty's boys makes an extra sensational shot now, the fans say, "Boy, he shoots like Beatrice," as she turns in some mighty fancy tossing. Beatrice Park was an ace foul shooter, receiving the prestigious University of Maine foul shooting medal during her sophomore and junior year, one of which she earned making 23 out of 25 baskets. Ms. Park was captain of the basketball team her senior year and was the star of the 1939 and 1940 teams, which dominated girls basketball in Eastern Maine with a combined record of 21 wins, 2 losses, and 1 tie. She lettered in basketball all 3 years, which was a rare feat for a female in those times. In addition to dominating the court her senior year, Ms. Park also coached the freshman girls. The Trident, in their annual 5-year predictions, forecast that after high school, she would be coaching girls basketball at Brewer High School. However, after graduation, instead of coaching, Ms. Park attended the Maine School of Commerce, now known as Husson University, where she continued her own basketball career. She was a co-captain of the women's basketball team under the coaching of Clara Swan, 2014 Brewer Athletic Hall of Fame inductee, and her Husson team lost only 1 game during the 1941 season. Beatrice Park was considered one of the best girls basketball players in Husson history, and in 1986 she was inducted into the Husson Sports Hall of Fame. She also received an honorary doctorate of law from that institution in 1974. After leaving the Maine School of Commerce in the early 40s, Ms. Park embarked on her professional career, beginning as the assistant Penobscot County clerk in 1948 and rose to be the chief clerk of courts, retiring in 1977. Ms. Park's athleticism and tenacity on the court transcend time. She was truly a pioneer in girls' athletics. As reported in the 1940 Trident, Captain Park's smooth passing and one-hand shooting was the delight of almost every spectator. Through graduation, Brewer High School will lose one of the best girl athletes who ever has or will ever attend this school. We couldn't agree more. It is with great honor that we posthumously induct Beatrice L. Park into the Brewer Athletic Hall of Fame.